Good day everyone. We are here today to discuss about the chapter 7, which is the business letter and report writing. Business letter is a letter which is used by organizations to communicate in a professional way with customers, other companies, clients, shareholders, investors, and etc. Also, business letter uses formal language and a specific format. We need to write a business letter to maintain contacts with the external world, including other businessmen, customers, and government departments. And also for the internal purpose like office orders, circulars, memorandums, and etc. A letter writing may be less important for a small business establishment, but has its own importance. There is also some other means of communication like telephone, telegraph, and etc., but they can make only a temporary impression on the receiver's mind. The message communicated through this media is less likely to be kept in memory for a long time. There are some functions of a business letter. First is a business letter serves as a record for future reference. Back references are quite frequent in business communication, knowledge of the past, transactions, agreements, and etc. with customers, suppliers, and the like can be had easily, quickly, and correctly only when they have been preserved in writing. Second is it leaves a more durable impression on the receiver's mind than an oral message. Third, since it can reach anywhere, it is used to widen the area of operations. Fourth, it is used as a legal document. And lastly, fifth, it is used to build goodwill.
Types of letter. There are two types of letter, the personal and non-personal letters. So what is personal letters? Personal letters are informal and are written to exchange news or to seek favor. Letters to relatives and friends are example of personal letters. Also, personal letters are written in a friendly, informal style. And what is non-personal letters? Non-personal letters are used for the business purpose. It should be written in the formal style. The particular style depends upon the concerned company. There are some classifications of non-personal or business letters. So as you can see, there is a organizational chart of non-personal or business letter. Let's move forward to business letter. There are four types of business letter. First is the official letters. Official letters are written to government or semi-government bodies. Second is the demi-official letters or DO. Are official in purpose but are addressed to a person by name. DO letters may be written if the matter requires personal attention of the addresses, the matter is of confidential nature, or the matter is urgent and requires immediate disposal. Next is internal letters or memos. Are used both in government offices and business houses for internal communication. Last one is the formal letters. Are used for correspondence of recurring or routine nature. They are used in case of acknowledgments, reminders, interviews, notice, appointment, etc. Relevant details filled or filed in these letters. You can see there the different kinds of letter. First is the sales letter. Next, circular letter, status and inquiry letter, resignation letter, and last is the bank correspondence. You can see their differences.
The following are the structure of business letter. First is the heading. Most business organizations use their printed letterheads for the correspondence with others. The letterhead contains the name, the address, the telephone number, and the telegraph address, if any. Generally, the name and address are printed on the top middle of the page, and any other information is indicated in the margins. Second, the date. Some letterhead contains a printed line indicating where the date should be typed. In others, the typist chooses the right place for it. It should be typed 2 spaces below the last line of the letterhead. The date, the month, and year should be indicated in the upper right-hand corner. Reference. Some letterhead contains 2 lines to indicate reference. If you are replying, gives the correspondence reference number against the first and your reference number against the second line. Some companies prefer to indicate the reference number of the correspondent in the body of letters. Inside address. The full address of a person or organizations you are addressing should be written 2 spaces below the date and 2 spaces above the attention line, or if there is no attention line, 2 spaces above the salutation. The name of persons, firms, streets, roads, and many more should be written as indicated in the source you got the address from. 5 is the attention line. To ensure prompt attention, sometimes a letter which is addressed to a firm or company is marked to a particular officer in that organization. This is done by writing an attention line 2 spaces below the inside address and 2 spaces above the salutation. Salutation. The salutation in a letter, an essential ingredient, is like greeting a person when you meet him. It is placed 2 spaces below the attention line, or if there is no such line, 2 spaces below the inside address. The choice of salutations depends upon the personal relationship between the writer and the reader, and on firm of inside address. If you were addressing a firm, a company, a board, a club, a society, an association, an agency, use their sir. Always remember that the attention line does not alter the salutations if you write a letter to an officer by name. 7. Subject. The purpose of the subject line is to let the reader know immediately what the message is about, like attention and reference lines in saves time. The usual practice is to type the line in a double space between the salutation and the first line of the body of the letter. Body. The main purpose of a letter is to convey a message, and the main purpose of the message is to produce a salutable response in the reader, done mainly through the body of the letter. Therefore, important to organize and arrange the material very carefully. The first paragraph, reference to any correspondence which has already taken place, should be given, and in the second, the main message should be stated. In the closing paragraph, you must state clearly that what action you will expect the reader to take, or you may end the letter indicating your expectations, wishes, or intentions. The paragraphs are not given by heading unless the letter is very long and deals with several important points. Complementary clause. The complementary clause is courteous, leave-taking polite way of ending a letter. It is typed 2 spaces below the last line of the body of the letter. Signature. The signature is the sign of the writer. It is placed below the complementary clause. The name of the writer is generally typed 4 spaces below the closing line, providing enough space for the signature. Identification marks. These marks are put in the left margin to identify the typist of the letter. Enclosure. If there is anything attached to the letter, it must be indicated against the enclosure line, which is typed 2 spaces below the identification marks. Copy distributions. Sometimes, copies of a letter have to be sent to some people other than the address also. In such cases, the names of this person should be typed just below the reference initials or the enclosure notation, if any. The names of the person should be arranged either in order or importance or alphabetically. Postscript. Postscript is something written after the letter is closed. Writing postscript indicate that the writer had forgotten to include something important in the body of the letter, or he had not planned his letters properly.
a form of layout. First is the stationery. White papers should be preferred as the letters stand out clearly or it makes easy reading. The standard size of the paper used for business letters is 18.5 by 11 inches. Other sizes use as 18 by 10 inches, 5 by 10 inches, 5.5 by 8.5 inches, and 7.25 and 8.5 inches. Next is typing. Most business letters are typed. There are two reasons for it. First is typing saves time and gives a tidy appearance to the letter. Care should, however, be taken to get the letters neatly typed. Third one is the margins. Margins in a letter add to its attractiveness. Generally, a 1-inch margin is left on the sides, and 1.5 inch left on the top and the bottom in a standard size letter. Last one is the envelope. Envelope should be chosen to suit the size of the paper on which the letter is typed. If a window envelope use the letter should be folded such that the inside address will be displayed. The number of folds should be minimum as fair as possible.
Style of presentation or form of letters. Indented form. This is the oldest style and is now outdated. In this form, the inside address is indented style and every paragraph being 3 to 5 space away from the left margin. The indentation causes the letter to look uneven at the left margin. Besides, it takes more time to type because of the indenting. This style is not used today. Full black form. This is the most modern style. All parts of the letters except the printed letterhead are aligned with left margin. A letter on this form saves more time because indentation is not required for any part, but some correspondents do not like it because it appears imbalances and heavy on the left side. Modified black form. This style is a modification of the full black form. It eliminates the shortcoming of the full black style by keeping the date and complementary clause on the right and their usual position. The entire paragraph being at the left margin and there is double space between the paragraph. This is the most popular form as it has many of the advantage of the full form without its advantages. Semi-intended or semi-black form. This is like the black style except that the paragraphs of the letter intended. Those who use it say that it is easier to read paragraph which begins with an indented line because one is used to seeing this style in print. Hanging indentation form. This style is like the black except that the first line of each paragraph is aligned with the left margin, whereas all other lines in each paragraph are intended 4 or 5 spaces. NOMA form. This is the most recent experiment in layout style. It is recommended by National Office Management Association of America, or NOMA. It has been accepted in the UK also. It has almost the features of full black form. All lines begin at the left margin and the inside address in the black form. The special features of this form are: first, it has no solution and no complementary clause. The subject line is in capitals, 3 lines below the inside address. Numbered items of a list begin at the left margin, but if there is no number, the items are intended 5 spaces. There is no full stop at the end of items. The writer name and title are typed in capitals in 1 line below the space for signature. The last one, the typist initials are in the left bottom corner.
Memorandum. In law, a memorandum is a record of the terms of a transaction or contract, such as policy memo, memorandum of understanding, memorandum of agreement, or memorandum of association. In business, a memo is typically used by firms for internal communication, while letters are typically for external communications.
Purpose of writing memorandums. Memorandum or memos may be used for any official communication. Usually, memos are used for conveying scheduled message, for submitting periodical reports, for communicating changes in organization, for issuing instruction to the staff, for confirming a decision made at phone, for asking contain special information, for writing suggestions. There are advantages of memorandum. Inexpensive. Because of its hand-to-hand circulation within the organization, it is inexpensive means of communication. Second one, the convenient. It is convenient to write and read memo, as all heading like data, person, etc. are usually printed in standardized format. Third one, future reference. Memos are usually stored in office files or computer disk. As a result, they can be used for future reference. Quick. Memos ensure quick and smooth flow of information in all directions. Fixing accountability. As memos are records of facts and decisions, they establish accountability. The memorandum format. The memo format is different from that of a letter, since a memo moves from one department to another or from one employee to another. It is essential to write the name of the person sending the memo and the name of the recipient and the designation or department of both the persons. The words for, from, and to are invariably used in memo. There is no salutation and the writer's signature is put without writing the subscription or complementary clause. The memo is properly dated, is written in a direct style, and is as brief as possible. The three factors are who is going to read the memo, second, the subject matter of the memo, and the third one, the company in-house style. The tone of a memo need not the very formal, nor shouldn't it be so informal that it loses all seriousness.
Let's proceed to report writing. A report is a form of systematic presentation of information relating to an event, progress of action, or some business activity. It is a written statement of results, events, qualities, conditions, progress, or interpretation of records. A report is a basic management tool used in decision making. Reports can be either oral or written. An oral report is simple and easy to present. It may consist in the communication of an impression or an observation, but written report is always preferred. So there are reasons why a written report is preferred than oral report. An oral report can be denied at any time, but written report is a permanent record. An oral report tends to be vague. In written report, the writer tries to be accurate and precise. A written report can be referred to again and again. Lastly, distortion during transmission reduces.
So the types of business reports. So there are two types of reports, the informal reports and the formal reports. So informal reports is written in the form of a letter from one person to another. Informal reports typically do not follow any prescribed form or procedure. They do not have any uniform structure. They are prepared according to the convenience and requirements of the organizations. So these reports may be informative or recommendatory. Next is the formal reports. A formal report is one which is prepared in prescribed form and is presented according to the established procedure to a prescribed authority. So next we will move to the statutory and non-statutory. So statutory report prepared according to the form and procedure laid down by law, while non-statutory is a formal reports which are not required under any law but which
are prepared to help management in framing policies or taking other important decisions. The periodic or routine reports. They are prepared and presented at regular prescribed intervals in the usual routine of business. They may be submitted daily. Branch manager of banks submits periodic reports to the head office and the quantum of business transacted during a particular period. So we also have special reports. Special reports are related to a single occasion or situation. Reports on the desirability of opening a new branch or on the unrest among staff in a particular branch are, are what we call special reports. So it deals with non-recurrent problems. So on the basis of functions, a report can be informative if a report merely presents facts pertinent to an issue or situation. Next is on the basis on the nature of the subject dealt with, we can have a problem determining report, fact-finding report, performance report, and technical report. While on the basis of the number of persons interested with the drafting of reports, we can have the two reports. It is the reports by individuals and the reports by committees or subcommittees.
Characteristics of a good report. Precise and brief. A report should be precise and specific to make it a valuable document. Accuracy. The information contained in a report must be based on accurate facts. Make sure that the source of information is credible. Clarity. A report must be clear to understand. The purpose of a report is to provide useful information, and if the reader is confused what is written, then it has not served its purpose. Relevant. The facts presented in a report should not be only accurate but also relevant. Reader-oriented. Reader's knowledge and level of understanding should be considered in writing the report. So keep in mind about the person who is going to read the report. Purpose of business report. A business report presents factual information to management. It is important that the information presented in the management is accurate and relevant. A business report records facts and results of investigation or survey for future references. It also provides useful information to shareholders, customers, creditors, and general public. Lastly, a business report makes recommendation for future use.
Let's move on to the guiding principles of writing a report. So the first guide or first step to do is the report should be addressed to some definite authority, the managing director or board of directors. Next is it should contain a short and clear title to know about the report at a glance. Next is as the start or as the report is generally drafted on the advice or request of some reader, it should quote the term of reference so that it should be clear why the report is required. Fourth is the body of the report should be planned and should be logical in sequence, preferably with headed paragraph. And lastly, the recommendations, if any, should be boldly marked as to invite immediate alternative. It may be signed by the officer responsible for it and it should be dated. So next we will have the preparing a report. So how can we prepare a report? So there are also steps on how to prepare a report. So we have here the investigating the source of information. Next is taking notes, analyzing the data, making an outline, and writing the report. So now let's move on to a structure of our report. So the structure of a report is from the organization of a report. It will be divided into three: the letter form, memorandum form, and the letter level or the letter text combination form. So we will have the letter form. So it is an informal reports. Letter form is recommended. Its main part is heading or the title, data, address, salutations, the body, complimentary clause, and of course, the signature. So the body of the letter is further divided into introduction, findings, and recommendation. So in introduction, it represents the terms of reference and the subject of the study. Next is in the findings. The next few paragraphs present the findings of the investigation. Lastly is the recommendation. It logically follows the findings given in the last paragraph of the body. So next is the memorandum. So it is simplest than letter form. So the date is mentioned in the top. It is followed by the name of the person to whom the report is addressed, the name of the writer, and the subject of the report. So next follows the actual text and the conclusion. As in the letter form, the text of the report is divided into paragraphs which with heading and subheading. So there are a sample figure of an outline something of the memorandum. So next is the letter text combination form. So it is a long report which is usually written in the letter text combination form.